Hi everybody, welcome to Paper Wish's weekly webisodes. I'm Lene Gehrig, and today I've got a fantastic collection from Hunky Dory, Apple Blossom, and 2D Designs. I can't wait to show you what I came up with, so come play with us. So let's take a look at all these goodies. The first part here is from Hunky Dory. We've got Design Duo paper pads. This is dark roses and polka dots, and on one side you've got a beautiful rose pattern, and on the other side you've got polka dots. Each one has 12 different designs and 4 of each. They're beautiful, beautiful roses and coordinating polka dots. I think I've taken some out of these to make projects today, so if you're counting, they're not always going to be 4. All right, so that's the beautiful one for dark roses. This one's animal prints and lovely leaves. So we've got animal prints, lovely leaves. This is so great for storage because when you're looking for everything, they're coordinated. So like this beautiful leaf goes with that cool print there, animal print. Look at that. They're just gorgeous, you guys. The texture and the colors are amazing. And then we've got Rustic Charm and Vintage Grunge. Okay, so Rustic Charm and Vintage. So we're going to go through here. One side has got a solid texture color, and then we've got map prints, sort of scenes, wood, another scene here. They're just amazing, and they're really very, very versatile. I love the textures on all of these. Okay, so let's get to it. I'm going to show you, whoops, the dies. So the dies coordinate with the stamp sets right here. So here we've got hello, hugs, happy, love, thanks, smile, and you dies. Okay, and here we've got the coordinating stamps sentiment strips. Okay, so these are called decorative cuts and decorative cuts sentiment strips. So you could say hello, friend, hugs, a bunch, or a bunch of hugs. You've got happy birthday, happy everything, love you, just a great combination. And then of course you've got all these little image stamps down here which are adorable. And we've got from 2D Designs, this is Cat in the Garden. This sweet little die, this oval is so cute, and I did a coloring technique with that, which I will show you. And I wanted to show you as well these magnetic sheets. These are great, and I'll put these on the products used down below the video at Paper Wishes. If you're watching us on YouTube, click on the link below the video and it'll take you to the Paper Wishes webisode page and you'll see all of this stuff. But the magnetic sheets are so great when you have dies, or you can attach the stamps to the back. Debbie and I use these when we're doing design. When we have dies, we set them all out while we're working and we can see them. How many of you just dumped out your dies on your work surface and then you lose one? I do that all the time. One falls on the floor or gets stuck behind something. So this way everything is secure and you can see what you've got. So I wanted to make sure you guys knew about that. All right, so the first card we've got. And we can zoom in a little bit, Steve. So this one uses the dark roses and polka dots, and this is a 5 by 6.5 inch card. And as you can see, I sort of cut this into thirds, so 2/3, maybe a little bit more than 2/3. I did the rose pattern, and then I did that coordinating dot. Now, what's great about this is if you pick out any rose pattern right here, you've got the dot on the back of it. This one's pretty dark. Let me show you another one. You've got the dots right on the back of it that coordinate perfectly with it. Okay, so you don't have to go around and figure which one goes with which. And how many of you have covered your card and then you have a little bit of paper left? Turn it over and then you'll have this dot. So what I did was I actually cut my paper a little bit smaller than my 5 by 6.5 inch card, and then I just lopped off the top part of it, turned it over, and glued them to the card. Then I had this little doily. I love lace doilies. They're just, this one's a 4 inch and it comes on a little pack. And they're just a great place, sort of a landing pad for if you need a little greeting or to draw attention to the center of your card, because they have that nice solid space. So I just cut off a little bit at the top of it and glued that right at that seam between the two papers. Then I stamped big, okay? But before I did that, I die cut hugs from black paper, and then I just sort of laid it there so I could see where I would have room for big. Then I just used a stamping platform and stamped that while the hugs was right there. Then after I stamped it, then I glued the hugs down, and here's why. Even though you're using a stamping platform, sometimes you can have an oops, okay? Sometimes something happens, and that way you don't have everything glued on there and then go, oh no, I messed up, and then you have to tear this off. So you've stamped it, and if it doesn't work out, you could just put another doily on top of it and then try it again and then place your hugs. Then we've got a little border here. This is from Fancy Bordered Dazzle stickers, and they come in, let's see, gold, white, black, silver, and I used this black border right here. It's nice and thick, and it has all these little scallops with dots on it, and I just placed a length of that right across where that paper seam was and then trimmed that. And then I used a little bow here. This die is new from hot off the press. This is Bow Dies Quick and Easy. It has 2 sizes of bows, and if you've never used it before, I wanted to sort of roll it out today. So you have your 3 pieces. What I like to do is take bone folders. This one is my favorite one. It just fits very nicely in my hand. And then what you're going to do is take the part that's going to be the bow. You're just going to shape it a little bit. It makes a tremendous difference when you're putting that together. All right, so it's curved a little bit, and then you've got, this is the base of your bow, or the bottom part of it, that part right there. So now you're going to take just a little bit of glue. I like Cosmic Shimmer Specialist Acrylic Glue. There we go, put a little dot there. Let's zoom in, Steve. And then we're going to place that right there, and I just hold that for a second, let that glue take hold. And then we're going to place another dot right there. Oops. And then we're going to hold that as well. I'm holding, I'm going to take this and put a little dot there. And here's the key. You do not want to use too much glue when you're doing this. It just makes everything slippery and slide around, and I find if I just use a little bit of glue, it grabs quicker, and there's no messy slipping and sliding. Slipping and sliding. All right, so while I'm holding this, go ahead and get this one ready, kind of curving that piece. And this piece is just going to go right on the center, and it's going to wrap around, make everything look nice and tidy. And then I just wrap it like that, turn that over. Now I'm just going to put a little dot of glue. There. It's just a really cute little fluffy bow. And it even looks good when it gets smashed down for mailing. So no worries there. All right. So that's it on that one. So let me show you the other one. Here we go. This one is a center step card. Okay. And we're going to be using our cute little cat in the garden cutting die. So for center steps, we've got a couple of options here for you. This is what they look like when they come out of the package. They're pre-folded, they're ready to go. They have a coordinating envelope. We sell them in packages of 5 cards and 5 envelopes like this, but if you have a die cutting machine, we also sell them in a die. This is 6 inches wide here, so it'll go through your, well, that's actually just under 6 inches wide, so it's 5 7/8 inch. So it'll go right through your die cutting machine without any problem at all, and then you can have unlimited center step cards. So that's a great investment. All right, so for this one, I used the Rustic Charm and Vintage Grunge, and I used this one at the front, this beautiful hydrangea print, and on the back, it's got this sort of peachy color, and then I used green from one of the backs of the other one. All right, so I went ahead and I just used a little rectangle that I cut right here and glued that here. Then I glued a strip of green right there, and then also strips of green here, and then a little strip of peach right there. And then I used, here we go, thin line pearl and pastel Dazzle stickers, and I used these really nice pearl green right here, and then right here I used this sort of peachy color right along the edge there. Let's see, then let's deal with this little guy, our little kitty. What you're going to need for this is just a little bit of the green paper to back it with, but before we back it, we're going to do some coloring on it using tri-blend markers. If you're not familiar with tri-blend markers, they are fantastic. They are 3 markers in one. There's a dark, a medium, and a light, so they're perfect for blending. And I'm going to use light green here. I'm not going to color the whole thing, but I'm going to give you the idea of what's going on. So what I did was used the darker color on the outside edge. Just pick one outside edge of the stem. And then I went to the medium color. And I just sort of blended that in right next to it. Like that. A little bit of that. And then I went to the light color. And then I'm just going to color that stem. Just like that. Kind of blending those other 2 shades with it. And by doing that, the image has a little bit of interest, a little bit of, it just doesn't look so flat when you're just coloring it with a solid color. Now I'm going to take a little bit of orange. I'm going to take that medium shade of orange. And this is what I'm going to do here. Now I am really not great about flower names. I really don't know what kind of flower that is. So I'm just sort of using my imagination with the color. Now we're going to go to coral. Take the medium shade of coral, and we're just blending that coral with that orange. I wanted a shade at the base of the flower that was darker than the coral had in that darker shade. So I went with the orange because I really wanted to make that kind of pop at the base of the flower. And I'm just going over that little orange edge because I want it to blend a little bit so we don't have that real stark line. There we go. Now, Steve, let's do kind of an extreme zoom on that one. There we go. Okay, so you can see that little line right there where the orange is. We're just going to be blending that out a little bit. There we go. So let's deal with the little kitty. So for that, I'm using Tan Blend. And for that, I wanted to pull the inside right out of there. For that one, I'm using the darkest shade on the left side. I'm kind of going over quite a bit there, about halfway. And now I take the medium shade. Now you can tell on this one, there's a pretty dramatic difference between the medium and the dark shade. But that's okay. We're just going to go ahead and color this whole rest of the cat with the medium. Then we're going to go back to that darker shade and just start coloring more of that, just like that. And then go back to the medium again, and we're really going to start blending that line. And that's just going to soften that. So it's almost like the sun is sort of hitting the back of the kitty there. And then we're going to go ahead, whoops, I forgot to go to the dark side. The dark side. Go and color that guy in, right? And what I'm doing is I'm stopping short of going into this white border. I'm just kind of curving that around a little bit. All right, what other flower can we do here? Let's go back to the coral. I'm also using, so I've got the golden blend. We're just going to go right here on this flower with the dark. And then we've got the little medium and the light. Like that. And then finally, what was the other one I used? Back to coral, I believe. Yep. So on the coral on this one, it's a little bit of that dark coral there. I'm going to go to the medium, sort of just go down the little center of that blossom till you get to the light one. We're finishing that with the light, just like that. And finally, the last color I used was light pink, and I just used the darkest shade of the light pink for these little blossoms right here. Started dark at the bottom and then just went lighter at the top, just as if the sun is hitting the top of each other. All right, so once that's done, you're going to take your little bit of green paper and you're going to put a little bit of glue on this. And then you're going to take some little scissors. And I found that instead of using something like sticky specs, which is a wonderful tool to use with cutting dies, these are such delicate pieces that aren't really connected in the center like that, that it's pretty easy to tear. So I just make sure that all the little ends that don't have anything attached to them have some glue on them. There we go. And then we're just going to touch that down just like this. And then we're going to go around and use our tiny little scissors. And I like to, while that glue is still wet, just get just under that outside mat. And just cut around it like that. Right, so that you're still going to have that nice edge, but you're not going to have any green sticking out there. And then I just foam taped that right to the center. I used my little bow die again. This is the tiny version of that bow, and I just cut that out of that peach background paper. And then the smile here, I just touched that with a little bit of Jelly Bean pink ink pad just to color the top of that. Then the inside of my card, I just did a little square of white cardstock. I had a little scrap of this left over, so I just glued that there. I also die cut the word from the patterned paper, from that beautiful hydrangea paper. So now we've got Smile, Friend, You Are Loved, all put together. All right, our last card uses this animal print, okay? And I'm also gonna add with it some paper towel. This is Serenity paper towel. We can probably zoom out a little bit now, Steve. Serenity paper towel works really well with this beautiful feather pattern we've got in here. Here we go. One did I use? There's this feather pattern and then this one. So the colors worked really, really well with this. So here we are going to use, let me get all my little goodies here. So for my card, which is a 5 by 6.5 inch card, I covered it with this really nice sort of ochre paper. This is Romantic Florals cardstocks, and I've got this really nice color right here. Then I'm just going to take my brown ink pad. This is roasted coffee, actually. And I just went around the edges just like this. And then I went ahead and stamped this right here just to save a little time, but I actually wouldn't normally do that until I've got my paper here. And what I started out with, my piece of beautiful, there we go, my piece of beautiful feather paper, and I just did a little tear right down here like this. Now we've also got a wonderful decal ruler for tearing, and I will attach that in the products below in case just free-handed tearing kind of intimidates you. Now if you turn this over, you've got the burgundy leaves on the back of that. So that's what I did. I just did my little bit of tearing. Okay, this is about, I started off with probably a 2.5 inch wide strip of paper, and then just did my little tearing so that I had a nice 2 inch wide, maybe 1 3/4 inch wide strip here. We're gonna just glue that right behind this piece. And I wanna make sure that that doesn't cover up this piece right here, so I'm gonna go ahead and do some glue right there. You don't need a lot of glue, you just need it at the areas that gets the most contact, which I find are the outer edges of your card. That's where people are going to be handling it the most. If you use too much glue, everything just slides around and it just takes too long. And I'm just going to add a little bit right there and right there, and now everything is nice and secure. So at this point, I would then go ahead and stamp my greeting. And now we've got a little wreath die. This one is Wreath All Seasons, a Wreath for All Seasons cutting die from hot off the press. I'm just using this circle wreath right here. Cut this out of the same paper pad, or cardstock pad rather, using the brown. I'm just adding some glue just to touch those areas. We're going to glue that right up here. I'm gluing it up here because I want to have room for this little greeting here that's upside down. Happy everything. I was looking at it, was like, what does that word say? It's upside down, Lene. All right, so now that's going to get glued right here. It's okay if it overlaps our wreath a little bit. Oh, I've got glue all over my hands. Gotta get a wipe. All right, then the paper toll. What's great about this toll is that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. They're all numbered. And then to place those together, we use foam tape for those layers, okay? And we have a couple options for you here. There's the 3D foam squares that come like this. They're already die cut. You just peel them off. Or, of course, we've got the giant wheel of foam tape, which is so easy just to cut little bits of this off. And this is, let's see, it's 150 feet or 50 yards. Okay, so that's a lot of foam tape on this wheel, and that's a great deal for that. So we're going to take this toll and we're going to just glue that right here. And then we're going to add some flowers. Where are my flowers? All right, well, these are rustic blooms, and the color is marigold. Here we go. This isn't a full package. I can't find my full package, but we're going to go ahead and use this one. And we're going to glue some beautiful little flowers on this. And I love that the color works with this sort of ochre yellow color. It's going to be really pretty. Doing that like there. And then we're going to add a couple of little leaves. Go. Maybe another leaf or so. And I'm just that over. And I think try these just right down here. I love it that there's 3 or 4 sizes of flowers here. This makes that easy to put together. We're going to do just one more leaf. And I just like to slide that right in there while that glue is still wet so I can still manipulate. There we go. Okay, so you can see, fun to put together. I love that you've got this feather background right here. You've got your birds, the colors work together. You've got your little greeting here that's very interesting. And you guys, we've got a great money saver for all of these items. So I would definitely have you check that out. The money saver is right there on the right-hand side of the screen here on Paper Wishes Webisodes. Down below, we have all the products used individually. If you're interested in the doily or maybe the stamp set or the cutting dies, they're all there. And if you're watching us on YouTube, look below the description box for the link. It'll take you to this webisode page. And hey, subscribe. We do 3 to 5 of these videos a week. We don't want you to miss anything. And please give us a thumbs up. It helps people find us. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.